In my last video, the Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge review, I mentioned that Samsung's latest flagship is so good in hardware and software that it made me want to explore their ecosystem a lot more. And that's exactly what I'm doing, starting with the Samsung Galaxy Gear S2, Samsung's flagship smartwatch. Now, this is not going to be a comprehensive review. There are plenty of videos that go deep into each app and nook and cranny. I want to share my general experiences using this watch, as I have been using Android Wear exclusively since its launch. I also want to preface that my primary use for smartwatches is as a notification reader. I almost never use any third-party apps, so keep that in mind when you're watching this video. I went with the simple black Gear S2, which is now $249. There's a classic version that's more expensive that has a nicer look, a nicer band, but it comes in at $299. I bought mine for $140 refurbished from Best Buy, which I thought was a great deal. I want to get the base model as it's clearly geared towards active users while still looking good. It's got a soft touch band and a sleek and smooth look to it that makes it look similar to many athletic watches out there. There are two buttons on the side, a back button and a home button. The latter can be programmed to do something on a double press. Now let's not forget about that dial. Samsung's watches are navigated by rotating the bezel of the watch, and it's a pleasure to use. There's feedback when you rotate the bezel, similar to a click. After getting used to the layout of the watch, I knew that my calendar was 1 click away and my steps counter was 2 clicks away. I didn't have to look at the watch to navigate it anymore. Now, as for durability, I think this watch will hold up fine. I put it through running, doing house renovations, and it didn't get so much as a scratch. This is especially good because I definitely bumped it up against walls and doors during my time with it. Samsung's Galaxy S6 and S7 are known for its speed, its fluidity, and this watch is no different. Everything, as you can see here, is fluid, fast, and there's absolutely no stutters. The only time I ever saw any hiccup is when I was initially setting up the watch and had to go through a bunch of updates and app installs. By the way, it is using a dual-core 1 GHz processor and a half a gigabyte RAM, and not to mention that gorgeous 1.2-inch AMOLED display. Battery life was also impressive. After a busy day, taking the watch off the charger at 6 AM and putting it back on at 11 PM, I still had 54% battery left. That's with ambient display on. It's also worth noting that the watch is smart enough to put the screen to sleep as soon as you lower your wrist. I'm sure that saves a ton of battery on its own, and notifications won't light up the watch until you actually hold your wrist up to look at it. I mentioned that I don't use smartwatches for apps. I use it as a notification viewer. I don't even respond to notifications from watches. The Gear S2, though, is a little different. Samsung makes it too easy to send an emoji or a simple response to supported applications. I found myself actually responding to Hangouts and text from the watch for the first time. The notifications themselves look really good and are easy to read and navigate through thanks to that rotating bezel. I also found Samsung's S Health to be actually quite good. Pair that up with the LifeSum app and you have yourself a pretty robust health tracker from food to exercise. There's no GPS built into the base Gear model, so if you want to take this out for a run on its own, it won't be tracked via GPS, but you'll still get your steps and things like that tracked. From the phone, you can easily choose which notification you see. In fact, most of the Gear S2 is controlled from the phone, but I'm okay with that as I think configuring your watch is easier from a bigger screen anyways. There's an app store for Gear apps, but I didn't quite explore that as much as I probably should have. Again, I don't care much for smartwatch apps. The last thing I'll say about the software is that it's definitely optimized for AMOLED displays and simplicity. Everything is clear, easy to read. The black backgrounds and the colorful text help create a contrast that makes it easy to read even in some trying situations. There are also plenty of first and third-party watch faces for you to choose from, so is the Gear S2 worth it? Well, to start, you definitely need a Samsung device for this to work. It does work on non-Samsung devices, but not quite as well. Secondly, if you are the opposite of me and enjoy using apps on your watch, you'll want to take a look at what's inside the Gear store before committing. Otherwise, if you're looking for a well-built smartwatch that performs well and has great battery life and handles notifications like a champ, this is an excellent option. I'll even say that I like the way Samsung handles notifications better than Android Wear does. That being said, at $249, it's pretty steep for a notification watch. It's excellent, don't get me wrong, and I'm going to be keeping mine, but in the world of Pebbles and Android Wear and others that cost less than $200, and in a lot of cases less than $150, it is a hard sell. Thanks guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more videos like this. I'm Mark, and as always, I'll see you in the cloud.